for a regular job. And so, like sometimes said, it's like you go on 2 or 3 dates and decide if you want to get married. And it's because you're calling a family to move sometimes across the country, and you know what? When they get here, is their mate going to be happy? Does their mate connect? And so the value of hiring somebody in the church is that the chemistry's there. They buy into the vision. Their family likes the area, likes the church. You've got all those question answers. The disadvantage of hiring somebody in the church is if it doesn't work, they've got all these friends, and they've been a part of the church probably already 5, 10, 15 years. I call hiring within, it's feast or famine. It's a home run or a strikeout. And that's the value of hiring without is somebody comes in and they bring fresh ideas to the team. I mean, you become a little bit inbred. Everybody starts thinking the same. You see the same things. You stop noticing the fact that something doesn't work over here. You just get used to it not working. Mm-hmm. And when you get somebody from the outside to come in, they ask questions we stopped asking. Mm-hmm. Hey, why are we satisfied with that? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess we just got used to it, and so hiring without. But when you hire without, you got a lot more of those questions on whether it's going to work. Mm-hmm. Are they going to be happy? And that happiness is a big deal because we're a family. And so that chemistry, managing that chemistry, is I find one of the bigger challenges.
Okay. Well, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
And what skills do you think are essential for management?
I think you have to have a broad knowledge of all of the areas of ministry. That's one of the reasons I chose to be a staff person. By the way, if you can work for a boss who has worked for somebody, that's always better. Because they know where you are, they know where you've been, and there's pastors who they left seminary, they went straight into the pastorate. Then there's others, that staff. And I remember what it was like being a staff. I remember what it was like to do all the work, and the senior pastor gets all the credit. And you just smile. And so, because of that, I try to divvy credit out. I try to make sure our church knows, hey, I didn't do that. This person did that. This person's leading that. I'm probably a little bit quicker to release authority and to let them kind of run their own ministries. But I think a broad knowledge of children's ministry, well, in business terms, a broad knowledge of each of the pieces. When you've got opportunities to be in those areas, to learn in those areas, so you know what questions to ask. You want to be able to talk somewhat intelligently. Now, the bigger an organization gets, obviously there's no way you've got in-depth knowledge of what's going on in each area. My children's pastor and children's associate know 10 times more than I do about children's ministry, but I know enough to ask. Mm-hmm. I know enough when they're bluffing. I know enough to what I should be looking for, and same with the other areas. So I think a broad knowledge is important. I think knowing where your staff is, are they happy? Why are they here? What is a win for your staff, mm-hmm. an individual? Because I found if your team is feeling fulfilled, if they're feeling like they're fulfilling a purpose and they're enjoying, guess what? They work harder. And the reason they work harder is because they're not as tired. When you don't know why you're somewhere, when you don't like what you're doing, when it's not fulfilling, 30 hours of work will make you dead tired. If you feel like, man, I know what I'm doing. I know the contribution I'm making. I know what role I play in the success of this. 60 hours of work energizes you. And so my job as the manager of the team is to know where they are, what's happening in their lives, are they feeling fulfilled, are they happy, and what role do I play in doing that. I mentioned there's 2 teams. Obviously, in a church our size, not everybody's going to eat dinner at the pastor's house, mm-hmm. Ever. I mean, that's just not going to happen in a church our size. What I've got to make sure, though, is I've got to be ministering to a couple of teams, like a deacon body. Mm-hmm. I've got to minister to a staff team. And if I'm caring for them, then they're out caring for the different ministries that they're over. And so you got to multiply and expand your leadership, your mm-hmm. vision.
I know when my dad passed away, of course you called, which is really sweet. But let me see. Scott came
Mm-hmm.
to the funeral, how do y'all decide who takes those responsibilities?
You know, like in your particular case, I don't remember why Scott did that, but that's part of what we do at staff. I mean, we're going over the hospital list. We're looking at funerals. We're looking at different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those things, actually, somebody has directly asked one of us, whether we're involved or something like that. And so, to the best of our ability, we're going to always respond to when somebody personally asks us.
I was in the choir at the time, and I had called him and asked him about some music options.
Yeah, so then the next step is, if we weren't personally asked then we're just caring for those in our ministry. So you were in Scott's ministry. He felt that was his responsibility to do that. So that is most of the time how it's covered. Hospital, we've got a large enough staff that there's 2 staff people per day. And so then they go to the hospitals every other week. So this Monday Andy covers it. Next Monday Jerry covers it. The Monday after that Andy covers it, and it's like that. And then crises, different things that come up. Again, usually it's first what area of ministry is that? Whose first primary responsibility is that? It kind of works like that.
All right. Any advice for us, management, marketing, students?
Any advice? Yeah, work hard. I mean, I guess part of what you're saying, what's important in management, I think, is it's knowing all aspects of the job. Number 2, when you hire somebody for that job, trust them to do it until you have reason not to trust them. And by trust them, that means give them the authority, give them the resources, give them the ability to do it. Everybody likes being in charge, don't they? And so when they feel like, man, this guy's just let me run, well, then he runs. She runs. Why? Because it's them. They're doing it. So, know all aspects of the job so that you can hire the right people for the job, and then give them the authority, give them the resources. Some of this is personality. I am a macro manager. I'm just keeping in touch with big picture. I'm keeping in touch with, are they doing their job and that kind of thing, but I'm not down into the details of their individual budgets. I myself and another pastor set the budget, but we get that information from them. Once it's approved by us and then ultimately the church, then the management of their different areas, they manage that budget. They don't have, if it's in your budget, that's your decision on how and when and why and all that. But so I think if you know it and if you've got the right people, then you become a macro manager. And then fourthly, and this is the last one, then that should free you up to do what only you can do. I see a lot of managers, and I guess this probably goes back to number 3, who get involved in micromanagement. You're burning up your day, you're burning up your time, you're burning up your authority over here in areas that then somebody's just standing there watching you, and you're not getting done what only you can do. And that's where managers, I think, miss it. You have to invest your time in what only you can do, and that's where you have to be good. Now, in macromanaging, you got to make sure you don't get too removed from the whole out there, because that's when management starts to fall apart. I can just stay locked up here in my office doing what I do well and what my responsibilities are, and I really don't know what is going on out there. And I have found in my own management, it's an ebb and a flow. Sometimes I'm doing really good. Sometimes I'm falling back, and then I have to remind myself. And it's time for me to start doing more walk-arounds. And I've got to be visible. I've got to be out there on the floor, in the plant, whatever word you might use in your setting. I've got to drop by offices and say hello, see what they're doing, beyond a staff meeting. I just need to be stopping by, and sometimes I may be going by to ask a very specific question. Sometimes it is to just say, hey. And I have found it more productive to not call them to my office, but to actually walk around and drop by and do that. And, of course, I don't know if you remember seeing this or not, but obviously I'm in we got this huge campus here, and there's all of these things going on Sunday morning that at the end of the day I'm responsible for. Mm-hmm. And yet I'm the only one in the church that never sees any of them happen because I have to be in this room. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't be in children's department. I can't be with the youth. I can't be in adult Bible fellowship mm-hmm. class. And so periodically, and I don't even do it on a yearly basis. I've done it probably on an every other year basis. I take a day to not be in the pulpit, and I walk around. Mm-hmm. There's two teams. There's paid team and there's volunteer team. Mm-hmm. And I walk around to see what is going on. This past summer, I took a Sunday where I didn't preach, and I was on the traffic team. Mm-hmm. And stood out there and directed traffic and learned what it was like to do that when it was 95 degrees and did that. And then when, of course, traffic is, you know, that's at some specific moments. When I wasn't doing that, I came back and I watched nursery. And so now, when I'm calling people to be volunteers, you know, I know what I'm calling to. That's knowledge. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm calling to. I know how rewarding it can be. I also know the frustration of doing mm-hmm. some of those things. Plus, when people see you do that, when you lead a team of people, they should believe not only that you can do it, but that you would do it. When you use your job just to make other people do the things you don't want to do, they figure that out pretty quick. Now, paid staff, they'll put up with it, and they'll grumble. Volunteers, they won't put up with it at all. You know, if they feel like, you know, that's just something you put off on them. You know, so you need to be involved. You need to be seen. You need to be out there doing those things also.
Okay. Do y'all have any questions?
No.
Okay. One little piece of housekeeping. Mm-hmm. If we're going to use your picture or any pictures in our slideshow, we have to get you to sign everyone.
I know. We do that too. We have a web page and videos and all that. You know.